part of the United States government, and I am empowered to take that alien with me.
But you can't take him away. He's mine.
Well, but the government is bigger than you are, Elliot. And I have all the authority to take him, and I gotta tell you, I'm gonna take him.
You can't take him.
Well, I'm afraid I have to, son.
You can't take him away. He's mine.
But it's not my choice. The president asked me to come here and get him.
I don't care what the president says. He's my best friend. And you can't take him away.
Okay, kid, you got the job.
E.T. is the movie hit of the season, a film that just seems to make everyone smile. Audiences who fall in love with the squatty critter who only wants to go home. Theater owners because in its first 2 months, E.T. has been worth $130 million at the box office.
E.T. was a film I actually started thinking about while I was directing Close Encounters. And when the little alien goes back to the mothership, I just imagined, what if he didn't? It just hit me out of the sky. I thought, what if the alien had stayed behind on Earth? There was another project I was writing and working on about divorce, and especially how divorce hits young kids, pre-teenagers, which is what I experienced. And I was going to write a movie about that, and what I simply did was I found a way to collapse both projects into the same screenplay. Needed a screenwriter, and went to Melissa Matheson, who was with Harrison Ford on Raiders of the Lost Ark, and asked Melissa if she would, consider collaborating with me on a script which became E.T. And then Melissa went off with hours of tape-recorded conversations and a lot of notes that she took, and she came back and she delivered the best first draft I've ever read on any movie that I was about to direct. My only expectation is that I can make a movie as good as the screenplay. I don't ever expect to make a movie better than the script. I don't want to make a movie not as good as the script. And in that sense, I was much freer to improvise and to tap the wonders and the aptitude of these kids to make their own physical and verbal contributions to the plot, to the story, which they did daily.
He was always like, that's a great idea, use it there. Try this, go for it here. He was the best director any actor, young or old, could work with because he brings out things in you that no other director does. And that's set me off for life.
I auditioned for Poltergeist originally. Steven just said, no, you're not right for that, you're right for this, so come back. And at first, he really just wants to meet you and get to know you, and I was so happy to have a grown-up that would listen to me talk, and he believed in my stories and he loved them and it made me feel so good.
I met a lot of Gerties, but when Drew came in, she had the part the minute she stepped into the room because she began to make up these stories. She's 6 years old and she told me that she's going to do a 20-city tour in America with her punk rock band, and she just blew me away. I mean, there was no second choice. I mean, Drew Barrymore was the first choice for this part. I had not been able to find an Elliot. I had looked for a long time, at least 6 months, could not find an Elliot. And I was really only about, I'd say, 4 or 5 weeks away from shooting the movie. What I was looking for was a young boy who was already empowered with a lot of self-confidence. I did not want a pushover. I didn't want a victim child. I wanted a very proactive young person who, when he had to be a leader and he had to fight for E.T., could win.
And when he came in, he was so nervous, and he did not do a terribly good reading.
I did a horrible reading, I felt. And so when you see me, the first time I'm on camera in the audition, that's right after I've given this horrible reading, in my opinion. So I have this kind of downcast look on my face in the first place. They had given me a page of dialogue to read and this kind of mock scene that wasn't in E.T. at all, but it was just kind of this cobbled together scene so they could test the kids' range, I suppose.
Steven said, well, let's do an improvisation. Let's, here's a situation. You found this creature and you love it, and the government's going to take it away and do experiments.
And I got behind the video camera, turned it on, and that's what happened. And that's who Henry was, and that's how Henry convinced me that he was Elliot.
I don't know what it was from. Maybe it was from being alone in the middle of nowhere in Texas and pretending to be dead so that the buzzards would land near me and I could look at them, like that kind of thing.
Everybody in the room was in tears. I just remember turning to Henry and saying, okay, kid, you got the part. I think when I first ran the film with Carol Littleton, the film editor, I think I knew at that point that this was a dream come true. I didn't ever think I'd make a movie as good as E.T. That was my first reaction to seeing it. You're not supposed to fall in love with your own movie, but I fell in love with E.T. I fell in love with that picture. That was even without the John Williams score. When John Williams saw E.T., he was really happy with the film. And I can tell when John's happy with the film because we don't have a lot of musical discussions. Dun, dun, dun.
And we eventually get into this key with this one.
I loved it. It was great. And I could not wait for the scoring session. I could not wait for the day he scored.
And the boom should be when the body falls.
The body falls, right.
Steven then laid the music track against the film and made a few editorial adjustments to conform to the music. Once we saw it with an audience, you could tell that this emotional connection was made between the children, E.T., all of it, and the audience. And I think part of the reason the end of the film has such a kind of operatic sense of completion, real emotional satisfaction as well as satisfaction from what we see, may be partly the result of this wedding of the musical accents with Steven's film editing.
E.T. represents the thinking that a lot of people share, which is we're not alone. Here we are in the universe on planet Earth, and you want to believe that there's something else out there. And that's what makes it a classic. That's what makes it universal. That's what makes it appealing to somebody who's 8 or 80.
I feel like it is such a kind story. Mm-hmm. I mean, it certainly taught us all who are making it to be patient and loving with the unfamiliar and to protect those that are different from us.
I never thought of E.T. as a science fiction film. I saw this as a story about a family, a dysregulated family in disrepair after suffering the tragedy of divorce, and how E.T. was able to give so much esteem back to Elliot and to Gertie and to Michael, and in a sense pulled that family together and had given such a great gift to that broken family that when E.T. sadly flew off at the end, that family would never be the same in a good way. And E.T. was an ambassador for peace, and that was the intention, and that's the role that E.T. played and continues to this day to play.